Talk to us about valuation of the business and why having a Shopify site adds, real business value to what you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not a business broker, nor do I play one on the internet. I love that phrase, by the way. I still seen that from you forever. But I've spoken to a lot of business brokers at a huge amount of depth about this for the
Yeah.
podcast. And I've spoken to friends of mine. I must know like 15 people who've sold Amazon businesses. It happens all the time. And if you're wanting to sell what is primarily an FBA business, that's the main entity that you're offering. Nevertheless, the multiple of the EBITDA for an off Amazon with a business with a substantial off Amazon component in terms of sales channel is higher. What that means, EBITDA is a fancy word for the profit, basically, or strictly speaking, it's a seller discretionary earnings. So more or less, the profit that falls out of the business, whether you take it home yourself as the owner or whether you keep it in the business, right? That figure is the one that is used, and then you add the multiplier. So you multiply by the multiplier, and that it gives you the value of the business. There are about 20 ways of valuing a business, as I understand it, but that's the one that's commonly used in the e-commerce space that I've seen anyway. Sure. And for a pure Amazon-based business, you're looking at about 2.5 times the annual profits, basically, is the value of the business. Maybe 3 if it's big enough. Now, I don't know the exact multiple you're going to get if you add 30% of your revenue or so on Shopify, but it's going to be up to maybe 3 or 4 times, which means if you think about it, you're making the same profit, but you're suddenly getting a vastly bigger paycheck when you sell the company, which is just fantastic. And that includes the money you've taken home yourself as a seller, as an owner of the business. That's part of the thing you multiply. So it's a beautiful thing. And so it's a really seriously great reason, a very positive reason to add a substantial part of your business outside of Amazon. And nevertheless, it's primarily the same entity,
Yeah, and I guess to just articulate that a little bit differently, if you look at it from sort of a different lens, if you're a buyer of a business and you ask yourself, what am I buying? There's value to having a real brand that has a proven community of customers, and you don't have that on Amazon. You can have a private label brand. I mean, you can have a brand, but you can't prove the social proof and strength of the brand separated out from Amazon. But with the Shopify platform, you can say we have a powerful brand and we've got 600,000 customers that have come through. We have the data on, or whatever it is, and those are the elements that create the value for your future sale of your business.
Absolutely,
that kind of stuff. Yeah,
absolutely right. I mean, that's one interesting case study that's kind of working its way through the 10K Collective Mastermind, which I can't sort of speak to as a completed case study yet, but somebody's working on a business sale with some brokers, and they're aiming for 4 to 5 times EBITDA, which is a seriously good multiple. And the reason isn't primarily the sales channel thing as so much as the customer data that they've collected, primarily through sort of WordPress / Google SEO and that sort of thing. But it's the customer relationship ultimately, and how that shows up, email lists, retargeting lists, and so forth. But it's really about that relationship. And as you say, that's another way of saying a similar thing, except it's not just about the sales channel. It's about, as you say, having a real brand in the sense of